All right, let's bring in Sean Hannity to react to all of this. Sean, what's your reaction to what they're doing to Donald Trump here in New York?
This is the most outrageous case I think I've ever seen in my life. It is irrelevant whatever valuations the Trump organization put on their properties. And by the way, they were definitely more within lines than what the judge determined. That would be irrelevant. Any lending institution, any insurance company, they have a fiduciary responsibility to determine the valuation themselves, bring in their own appraisers. As a matter of fact, every one of those contracts, when they put valuations down, that is stipulated in the contract. This really goes to the heart of the larger argument that we're having in the country. Do we have justice in America that has been weaponized and politicized? In this particular case, you got an attorney general. Her whole platform, she ran to go after one man, Donald Trump, one family, the Trump family, one organization, the Trump organization. Okay, so the judge now, they want to take away all control of their property, ostensibly cancel this family in New York, fine them $250 million. And the most absurd part of the evaluation the judge is looking at is the property down in Florida, Mar-a-Lago. The judge is saying it's valued between $18 and $26 million. I study these properties down in Mar-a-Lago. Ken Griffith bought 5 homes in a row, a couple of years ago, for $100 million each. There's not a single property that is under $400 million that has both the Intercoastal and the Oceanway as Mar-a-Lago. And the judge is as guilty as is more guilty than Trump at having a phony valuation of that property. It is really sad what's happening here. For that, you see a deck stacked against him. You see literally, they're going after the one family fulfilling a campaign promise. It is a great travesty, a great injustice. And this really can't keep happening. This is the stuff of a banana republic. You ask any appraiser in Palm Beach, Florida, to put a value on Mar-a-Lago, and they all should come out with their valuations, and there's not going to be one under $400 million, and that's going to be on the low side. And for the judge to say, well, that was overvalued, and he had valued it at $18 million is obscene.
Well, the thing is, what is his experience? Number one. Number two, it's just one guy. They've already made their conclusions, and now they start the trial. The other thing is, Mar-a-Lago makes $18 million, annually, let alone it's worth about $300 million, as you said, and you know all about real estate. But this is unbelievable because there is no plaintiff. There's no insurance company. There's no construction company. There is no bank that said we got to get Donald Trump. The same deal that he's done when he was hosting The Apprentice. These deals were all in place. Where was the outrage then? Zero outrage because they're making things up.
Well, Brian, you raise a really relevant point here. The banks were paid. The insurance company was paid. Nobody's complaining that they lost money on any of the deals based on the valuations that the company put forward here. But in the end, I want to go back to this point. When you put in for a loan with a banking institution or you want to get an insurance policy, it is in the contract. It was in Donald Trump's contract. It was in the Trump organization's contract that these are our valuations, but for the sake of your valuation, you must do your own due diligence. You must come up with your own valuation of the property. And at that point, the responsibility is on them. They have a fiduciary responsibility to their shareholders, to whoever they're working for, to get that number right.
Hey, Sean, I got one more element.
That burden is not on the person applying.
When they do your taxes, you have accountants do your taxes. I don't care how smart you are. Accountants do your taxes. Last year, they harassed his accountants to the point where they gave up ownership of the taxes they did. So just like flipping his lawyer in the Georgia case, now they're blowing up his accountants. They're isolating him, cutting off his arteries of relief, and then saying, now we're going to put you on trial. How is that okay?
It's not okay. This is why the House Judiciary Committee, rightly, and every American better pay attention to this, because if they can go after one man, which is Letitia James ran on a platform to go after one person, Donald Trump, one family, the Trump family, one organization, the Trump organization. This is the fulfillment of a campaign promise. This is one of the worst cases I've ever seen. And at the end of the day, if they are successful here, and I've got to imagine that President Trump would have a much better chance in terms of justice on appeal. But imagine it is ostensibly canceling their business in New York, finding them an obscene amount of money, $250 million, taking control of their property. What country does that sound like to you? It doesn't look like anything American to me.
Well, Cuba,
it would be a horrible precedent.
Sean, there's another topic that we wanted to get your thoughts on. It's what's happening on the House. It looks like the Republicans, they're at each other's throat again. They didn't get the 12 appropriations bills out, but they were able to keep the government open. Gaetz wants McCarthy gone. You have been following this. You know the members that are there. What is your read on this fight going on?
First of all, I wish it wasn't going on. Let me put it that way. If you take Lawrence, LJ, you take the personalities out of it. What's frustrating to me watching this, talking to varying people involved in this, okay, there is an argument to be made. Kevin McCarthy should have gotten the 12 appropriations bills done faster. They have 4 of them done. But in the short term, there was a coalition put together by Congressman Chip Roy and Congressman Byron Donalds and other members of the Freedom Caucus, and they were able to get together with more moderate members of the coalition, and they came up with a deal. They would have had an 8% cut in spending across the way. Right. They would have secured the border, which every conservative wants done in the country, and it would have bought them the time to finish the appropriation bill process. And then if they all stood together, all 222, and they would then pass these bills, then the pressure point would move from the House to the Senate when they move to conference. I'd rather see the pressure on Mitch McConnell, Republicans in the Senate, and Chuck Schumer in the Senate than on House Republicans. I want them to be the party of secure borders, and I want them to be the party of fiscal responsibility. And I think strategically they have time to do this now. They can do it through the appropriations process, get those bills passed, and if that happens, I think successfully, we can get our borders secure, we can get more fiscal responsibility, and that would be good for the country.
And real quick, what do you make of Jamal Bowman pulling the fire alarm to open the door? Have you ever been at a door, Sean Hannity, and you thought, how do I open it? I'm going to pull the fire alarm.
Yeah, just a brilliant idea. What a great idea. I'm going to pull the fire alarm. I have a vague memory, I'm not sure if it's reality or not, of me and my friends young in kindergarten and first grade, maybe occasionally pulling a fire alarm by accident. It was a complete accident. This guy has entered that building 100 times. He was already indoors, and his excuse is as flimsy as any as I've ever heard. A part of me finds it amusing, but it wasn't too amusing to his colleagues. Apparently, some of them want the same charges because it was during the middle of a congressional hearing that were brought to January 6. People brought on him. We'll see what happens.
Well, thank you very much for the confession that you did just the same thing he did. But
I'm not saying I did. I'm saying I was around people that might have done that.
Sean, don't worry. The statute of limitations has run out. You're okay. You're in the clear.
It's a foggy memory. I've never been shy about admitting I was a fairly incorrigible child. So, and many would argue I'm an incorrigible adult. Incorrigible.
Incorrigible.
All right.
That's what his mama used to say about him.
He watched the incorrigible King of Cable. Let's see, 12 hours and 15 minutes from right now, right here
don't
on the
miss it.
channel.
We got a great show tonight.
All right. We'll be watching.
Thanks, Sean.
Thanks, Sean.
Thanks, guys.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.